Welcome, boys and girls, to another Football Friday. Alright, before we get started this week, I want to thank the bands who participated in this podcast. The band you heard on the way in was a band called Transmit Now out of Orlando, Florida. Their song was Let's Go Out Tonight. The band you'll hear on the way out of the podcast is called The Over Under. They're out of East Meadow, New York, and their song is called Circles and Squares. Well, on board today, we've got Week 7 matchup breakdowns. We've also got a little interview with Mr. Bolin again. I will be talking about his mother as usual. Before we get started, though, I want to start with some things that are important to me this week. First of all, I'm sure everybody's heard about this Balloon Boy character. How many of us really didn't realize that was a hoax? I mean, seriously, come on. That stupid balloon thing couldn't have held up nothing. The boy was in a freaking attic in a box. If y'all haven't checked out that video on YouTube about the boy in a box, check out Boy in a Box. Just type that in on YouTube. Really funny rap video by some guys on YouTube. I don't know what their names are. Anyway, that stuff was ridiculous. Alright, second issue is this thing about the swine flu. I really don't think swine flu even exists. It's just the freaking flu. I mean, seriously, this kid in my class had it. He was out of school for like a week, and then he was back, and like everything was normal. There is no freaking swine flu. But what he tries to do to me is try to get me to take a flu vaccine or a flu shot, right? Have you all seen this cheerleader? You heard about her? She went to get the flu shot, and she got freaking paralyzed. So I think this kid's trying to freaking paralyze me, all right? So don't take flu shots. Don't even believe in the swine flu. It's all rubbish, all right? The third thing happened to me this morning, okay? I think you all know I'm a college student, right? On Fridays, I don't have class till 2. Okay, today I did have a breakfast thing I was doing at like 10, but nothing until then, alright? Well, this kid from one of my classes calls me up and says he needs help with a math problem. Which, you know what, it's no big deal, it's kind of a big project. But the first problem is he calls me at 7:30 in the morning on a Friday. Alright, that's pretty bloody ridiculous, if you ask me, alright? The second problem with it is that the stupid thing is not even due until Monday. Alright, seriously, you've got to be freaking kidding me with this shit. Alright, anyway, last little subject I want to go off on real quick is television. I really only watch television on Thursdays because I think it's the only night television is worth a darn. But it was great last night. The Office had their first episode of the year that was any good. Actually had me laughing out loud a couple different times. I was giving Flash Forward a chance. You know, the people from Lost were kind of involved in it. I thought it might be good. Well, it's not. It's garbage. What else was on last night? It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That show's always hilarious. Last night let me down a little bit, but the show's still awesome. But what I really want to talk about came from Wednesday night. It's called the Real World Road Rules Challenge. I think it's called The Ruins this season. But that show is freaking awesome. You do not have to watch the crappy-ass Real World show to like this show. It's just like the epitome of all that is great with reality television. Check it out. Get to it. Alright, that's quite enough of me rambling. Let's get to the matchups. The first one we have is my mighty juiced Penguins sitting at 0-6 with a 6-game losing streak against, I'm still yanking. John sitting at 2-4 for the season coming off a win last week. ESPN predicts still yanking to win 123-98. I can't say I disagree with that. I only have one quarterback going this week, and that's Kurt Warner. He'll be matched up against Carson Palmer and Brett Favre for still yanking. I'm also going to give still yanking the running back slot as well. He's got Marshawn Lynch, Lawrence Maroney, and Brian Westbrook against my Matt Forte and Reggie Bush. I'll take still yanking again. Wide receivers, still yanking has the now crappy Steve Smith of Carolina and Johnny Knox against my Greg Jennings, Devin Hester, and Antonio Bryant. I'm actually going to take my wide receivers there. I also like my 10 end, Tony Gonzalez, against the slightly stingy Dallas Cowboy defense. Let's see, though. This one's pretty easy. I am picking against my crappy team, and I'm going with still yanking. Although, I don't really like still yanking because I don't like the Yankees, and I think he's a Yankee fan. Did any of that make sense? I don't know if you're not a Yankee fan, I apologize, but I'm picking you. My team's going to be 0-7. And that's really all there is to it. Alright, let's get straight to the second matchup. And who are we looking at? We are looking at Team Mega Man against guess who, folks? That's right, Fantasy God Lance. Okay, Lance has now lost 3 straight weeks, sits at 3-3, while Philly Mega Man Steve, your team is up to 5-1 on a 2-game winning streak. Still best avatar going. Alright, let's look at the quarterbacks. Mega Man has Peyton Manning at St. Louis. I love it. Also, Donovan McNabb at Washington. Don't like that so much. Fantasy God Lance, Sean Hill, and Chad Henne. Yuck. Give me Peyton Manning and Philly Mega Man. Forgot to mention ESPN picked Philly Mega Man to win 159-92. 92. Yizers. Let's see. Philly Mega Man starting Joseph Dye, Tim Hightower at running back, while Fantasy God Lance has Steve Slayton, Pierre Thomas, and Frank Gore. I think that's a clear advantage for Fantasy God Lance in the running back scenario. Scenario is not the right word, is it? In the running back position. How about that? I think that's better. What do you think? I don't care what you think. Alright. Moving on to wide receiver. Mega Man has Roddy White, Deshaun Jackson, and Donald Driver. Very nice threesome. Fantasy God Lance has Braylon Edwards, Lee Evans, and that is it. That is an ugly twosome. Or couple. Or pair. Whatever you would like to say. Anyway, give me Philly Mega Man. What else is going on? Heath Miller, Chris Cooley. Toss up. I don't care about the defense, don't care about the kickers, don't care about Fantasy God Lance. Philly Mega Man and your hot avatar are going to win this one, just like ESPN predicts. Very good. Let's see how the pace is going. I'm up to like 7 minutes right now. So I think we're doing much better than last week. Let's move on to Team Sweatpants against the Detroit Geronimos. Plaxico Sweatpants are at 2-4 for the season. They've lost 2 in a row, while the Detroit Geronimos have also lost 1 and sit at 3-3. ESPN picks, holy shnikes, ESPN picks the Sweatpants to win 163-75. That's pretty redonkulous. Why is that, you might ask? Well, I will tell you. Plaxico Sweatpants starts Drew, the Unstoppable Breeze, and Ben Roethlisberger against Trent Edwards, who they say is not even going to play, and Kyle Orton, who's on a bye. So, yeah, obvious advantage to the Sweatpants. 2 quarterbacks, no quarterbacks, one of those quarterbacks being Drew Brees. Yeah, that's all I got for that. Sweatpants also has Clinton Portis and Jamal Lewis. Now, Portis racked up over 100 yards last week, but only had 12 points. Let's see, Allen has Steven Jackson, Marion Barber, and Ahmad Bradshaw. You know, I'm going to have to give this one to the Detroit Geronimos. At wide receiver, we've got Wes Welker for Team Sweatpants, along with Chad Ocho de Cinco de Mayo. Cinco Mayo. And, let's see, Alan Miller. That's right, the Detroit Geronimos. Alan Miller is starting Vincent Jackson, who, apparently I still like for some reason, even though he's had 9 and 14 points in his last 2 games. And Derby Henderson, who, whatever, scored 1 point. I think I told y'all he sucked, and no one listens to me. But, yeah, he still sucks, and everybody hates him, including me. So we're giving that one to the Sweatpants. Also starting Antonio Gates. He's pretty darn good. Uh-oh, I'm getting a text message. Why are people texting me while I'm doing a podcast? I don't appreciate that garbage. Anyway, should we find out what it is? Let's see.